Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today, let's talk about the 5 best safe laners of patch 7.34e. It's been a minute since the patch, but honestly things have kind of settled now, and so I have a pretty clear idea of what I think the best heroes are. When putting together this list, I also tried to kind of account for the different brackets and how things play out. This is my overall list for the best carries of 7.34e, and let's get into it. Alright, before we get into the main part of the video, I do want to let you guys know that I'm not only posting videos here on YouTube, I also frequently post videos on the website. If you don't know what I'm talking about, almost every single day I'm posting a new video to the gameleap website. We're going to teach you guys in depth about how to get to the next level. So if you want to become absolutely broken, click the link down below and sign up. Coming in at number 5 is a hero that I don't think is very good the higher MMR you get, but does deserve a spot in this list, and is PL. I think in terms of the late game scaling carries, PL still falls on top. And at the end of the day, scaling is what makes for a generally good public matchmaking Dota 2 hero. The better your hero is around minute 30 to 40, often the better the win rate is going to be. Or at least when it comes to the ease of execution. I wouldn't say PL has the easiest of execution, but the hero's general scaling is incredible. And the Aghanim Scepter build is just absurdly strong, right? Its ability to allow you to farm and take early game fights, as well as be a little bit tankier than your average diffusal build, is really nice for the hero. And something I do want to make clear is the lower you go, the better PL is. The hero's win rate from Herald to Crusader is 53%. It's almost 54% actually. A very staggering number. It's top 10 in terms of win rate and definitely one of the best carries. However, the higher you get, right, when you get to Divine and Immortal, the hero's win rate drops all the way to 50%. And I'm sure if you go even further towards like 9k, 10k, or 8k even, hero's win rate probably will drop more towards a 48% win rate. Depending on where you are, I would definitely recommend PL. It's a generally highly picked hero, and honestly the game plan is pretty simple. You just farm your timings. Like, yes, you can show up to some of the early game fights with Ag's Diffusal, but for the most part you just kind of hit your timings and eventually you carry the game. It's the name of the game, the hero's been good at this for a while, it's good at it right now, and definitely is a stable carry in the current meta. And one thing I'd like to say is I think it's pretty good against a lot of the current meta. I think it's a hero that's reasonably good against Slaughter, the mana burn. Like, it's funny, you're not very good at killing Slaughter, especially Ag Slaughter. You can't really kill him, but you just burn his mana. It's a comically good way to respond to the hero, and of course you dispel Amp with Doppelganger. Another hero you're pretty good against is Wraith King, one of the top meta carries of the patch, and that's another one to keep in mind. And finally, the last thing PL is very good against is Zoo. Okay, let's get into the 4th best hero, and this is one that's honestly a bit weird to talk about, but it has to be talked about due to its staggering win rate across every single bracket. And yes, this hero is also played as a mid laner, and so I think you can play it in a variety of different roles. However, Arc Warden is a good hero, and honestly, this is a hero I expect to be picked more and more as time goes on. I think Arc is currently an ignored hero at very high MMR, and therefore its popularity isn't as high as it should be, but yeah, at a 7.36% pick rate, you would expect it to be on the radar of high MMR players more. Its win rate at Crusader and below is 54%, but it stays consistent. In fact, its highest win rate is actually in the legend bracket, right? Your average bracket. So yeah, Arc Warden just consistently proves to be one of this really strong heroes. And what is a general build that you go on this hero? I think there's a lot of different angles you can take on core Arc Warden, and that's what's really cool about the hero and what, in my opinion, might potentially make him broken. For instance, one of the most popular builds right now is Vessel. I'm not kidding, and that can be on carry or mid. The hero is definitely more so picked as a mid, but that can be on carry as well, and that might seem insane. And what I want you guys to do is kind of look at Arc Warden carry as like a Monkey King carry, where it's this pretty good laner and it has a lot of good laning matchups, and then it actually can play in a way where it just eventually scales, right? So in the early game, you buy an Echo Saber on Monkey King, and that's going to be your fighting item, and then eventually you scale, right? And the hero's talents and the way it progresses with Wukong allows it to become a scaling menace. And that's kind of Arc Warden as well, right? The hero in the early game is just a bunch of nukes for the most part, right? You max your nukes. And then eventually with the magnetic field and magnetic field talents, as well as the broken shard, you just scale like a beast. And so you can buy an early game item, run over the early team fights, and then chill a bit. And so yeah, the most common build is a bunch of stats. So it's like Wraithband Wand into Urn, right? Wraithband Wand Urn, just so you have a lot of mana in the laning stage and you can trade very well. From there, you go Boots into Vessel. After that, you go Midas, then Maelstrom, then Bots, then Mjolnir, right? And basically with the Mjolnir, you can use the Mjolnir shield with the Illusion, and this will kill creep waves globally, because the Illusion, if it's separated from the main Arc Warden, does half damage. Okay, getting into the next hero is a lot more simple, and actually doesn't have an absolutely incredible win rate, and that's pretty surprising to me, because I definitely think it's one of the best heroes in the game right now, and that is Luna. Luna, I would say, it's always one of those carries where it's just solid. You know, it generally is just solid, but for me, it's like giga solid right now. I don't know if people just don't understand it or are bad at using Manta, or don't understand the power of the shard, or just don't know how to use timings in general, but Luna is insane. Now the biggest problem with Luna is if you don't know how to farm, right? If your farming patterns are bad and you show up to too many early game fights, your hero will fall off. It gets outscaled by Spectre, it's going to lose a man fight to Monkey King, it's not going to do well against Sniper in the late game, it's going to have problems against Drow, right? It's not going to absolutely dumpster the game at minute 40 to 45, and I think that's, or even minute like 35 to 40 if it isn't very far ahead. And so yeah, the key to being a good Luna, but the reason why I think it's OP is using Manta. It's one of these heroes that just pushes in the lanes like crazy and then farms Ancients like crazy. It's very normal for a good Luna to have a 5k net worth lead at like minute 25 to minute 30. And that's when they end the game, when they have a full satanic over the enemy carry. And so, yeah, I've seen this hero picked a lot. I think it's very good with some of the meta supports. For instance, I think Tree and Luna is absolutely fantastic. I think Abaddon Luna is something that maybe people will consider more and more as time goes on, just so you can play this death ball comp where you sit behind the Luna. And this is what high MMR players and teams are doing. They pick Luna, and then they have a Pugna. That's a great one too, because the Pugna gets the bonus damage from Lunar Blessing, and he just clicks and clicks and clicks. And in the mid game, right, what do you do with Luna and Pugna? You walk up to towers, and you take the towers. And so I think Pugna Luna and Tree and Luna will be some of the most popular comps if given the opportunity to be picked in the pro scene right now, because it's absurdly straightforward. It gives you a very clear way to play the game. You do well in the lane with Luna, and then you farm Ancients on your Luna, you take the Roshan a minute 20 on the Radiant side, and then you ball up, and it's very hard to fight. Also, you can pair this with like maybe a Chen, and you just have a billion auras and group up with Luna. Problem is you have to know when to group up, you have to know when to take Rosh, and you have to know how to use Manta to accelerate your farm. You have to be able to get this item down lanes. All right, coming in at the second most broken carry is Spectre. There's no way Spectre's not on this list. This hero is obviously pretty insane. It's just Spectre. I just made a video on the hero, so if you really want to know a lot about Spectre and what makes this hero truly broken, I recommend you go check out the full, I think it's almost a 20-minute analysis on this hero, very in-depth. But what makes Spectre truly broken is just the low cooldown on his ulti. No matter how bad his lane is, it's pretty insane how easily this hero can come back. It can have 30 CS at minute 10, and all of a sudden it's killed the offlane. Then it's killed some support, and by the time it's minute 18, he's got a Radiance Blade Mail or a Diffusal Manta at minute 21, and the guy's solo killing any support that shows on the map. The game becomes a nightmare against Spectre. And honestly, something I think is really broken about this hero as well is the shard. It's honestly, in my opinion, under talked about. Dispersion can be activated to increase the damage reflected by a 100% for 5 seconds on only a 25-second cooldown. If you hit this hero when he is blade mailed and turns on his shard, you will kill yourself. You will just die. I've seen it time and time again. It's not apparent when he uses this. This is the problem. Basically, you just start hitting him, and then you're like, oh, Dispersion's a really strong spell. But in reality, it's this damn shard that's killing you. And so even if the hero's having a bad game, if it has Blade Mail Shard, and the enemy doesn't know that this shard exists, which most people don't, they just die. And so yeah, honestly, I think the ulti is overtuned at the moment. It's just ridiculous. You haunt in, and then the haunt daggers them, or you shadow step in. It throws a dagger when you shift onto them. Then you dagger them again. So now you've nuked them for 440 damage. And then before you kill them, you can reality back to where you came from. And that daggers them again. So you've thrown out on a 60-second global cooldown. You've thrown out a finger of death. And just for a little bit of perspective, Lion at the current period of time on a 140-second cooldown does 600 damage. Spectre does 660 globally on a 60-second cooldown. And that's not an over-exaggeration. That's what it is. Why does it work like that? The world may never know, but it does. If the game is hard, well, you buy Blade Mail and Shard and you hope they kill themselves. If the game is easy, you just kill whoever shows and the game ends. And finally, the best carry of the patch is Wraith King. Honestly, this hero is always at the top of the win rate charts for pubs. I think it's mainly due to the ease of execution, right? At the end of the day, it's very easy to play Wraith King. But I will say, I think there's a lot of things that stand out about this hero to make him arguably one of the best, if not the best hero in Dota right now, in either of the side lane corals. And that's his talents. I think Wraith King arguably has some of the best, if not the best, level 10 and 15 talent combo in all of Dota. His level 10 skeleton duration and cooldown talent changes the hero. It makes these skeletons ridiculous. They farm so much when you hit level 10, they last for forever, and you can just constantly send them out because it also decreases the cooldowns. And then at level 15, my friend told me about this a while ago. He's like, I don't like that people are taking the skeleton talents. And for a while I agree with that, but then you read the stun talent and you're like, oh, it's just an extra second of stun on an 8-second cooldown. I mean, it's ridiculous how much you stun. If you're playing as Wraith King and he takes the right side 15 talent, the stun duration, 1 second stun duration, you're just always stunned. Always stunned. It really is crazy. This hero, it's a great laner. That's another thing I like about it. Like compared to Spectre, it can be a very oppressive laner, and the laning kill execution is obscenely easy. You get 2 skeletons, you spawn them, and you stun someone, right? It's like, that's it. Eventually, level 3 of 4 skeletons, and like, no one can fight 4 skeletons. So you just click the skeletons on the wave, it pushes it all the way in, and then if the enemy contests it, right, after you farmed up the full wave freely with the skeletons, you just stun them, and then the skeletons switch. And even if they do kill the skeletons, they respawn. And then you just stun them after. And then the stun, because a lot of people don't realize this too, when you stun someone as Wraith King, whoever you stun, the skeletons get a bonus 25 movement speed and 25 attack speed. That's why when you stun someone, it just seems like they get obliterated by the skeletons, because they get a bonus damage, essentially. The hero, very reliable right now, some of the best talents in the game. Even at level 20, the cleave feels great. It just allows you to farm and push in waves that much faster, even if you go Radiance. It's really nice. At level 25, Reincarnation cast Wraithfire Blast with this 15 talent is wonderful. The Mortal Strike cooldown, if you want to take it, is good too. So great talents. Do think that the Aghanim Scepter build on this hero as the game progresses too is pretty insane. 7-second death delay. And also, what's really crazy, when someone dies with the axe, I barely knew this until recently, okay? First of all, they live for 7 seconds. They get 75 bonus attack speed. So if it's a core, they just click like a madman. Right, some Luna can just throne you. Or like take your tier 4s in the duration she's like dead. 25% bonus movement speed, so they're zooming, they're sonic. And then the respawn time is reduced. Heroes that die this way respawn at a faster rate. So if you die and you're affected by this, which you will be, you just respawn 10% faster. Like, what is this axe? This axe is so funny. And then his shard is crazy too. It causes reincarnation to have no mana cost, which is honestly good even if they don't have mana burn, because then you can just button mash your stun. And it increases skeleton spawn count. So when you die on this hero, at level 1, it spawns 1 skeleton, then 2, then 3, depending on the level, to everyone around you. And if you buy the shard, I believe it increases it by 2 or 3 skeletons. I actually don't know, but it's 2 or 3. If you're level 12 and you buy your shard, supports, if they kill you, just get 4 skeletons on them. That just zone them out of the fight. Like, it's too easy to be good at this hero without being good. I don't know if that makes sense, but you can do so much without being good. And that's what makes the hero high win rate. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. And I'm out. Peace. And that's all. But remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the gameleap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below. And I'm out. Peace.